Very few things are certain in life. Death certainly is, taxes definitely are, and rumors about upcoming movies are too. But the majority of those rumors about movies don't end up coming into fruition. But fans love to talk, and the slightest hint of a fun or interesting movie being produced creates a buzz and an anticipation like nothing else in the world, which is why it's so sad and disappointing when we find out they're never actually going to get made. In this video, we'll take a look at some examples of movies that have been talked about, but that we'll never have the pleasure of actually watching. Here are 10 versions of anticipated movies we'll never get to see. By the way, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and join the notification squad to make sure that you're always up to date with our great new videos. And before we start, can you guess the movie from these emojis? Stay tuned for the answer at the end of our video, and be sure to keep watching for fun trivia questions and fun facts along the way.
It's over. Go home.
Deadpool 2 with Stephen Lang as Cable. 2016's Deadpool movie was fantastic, and one of the most exciting parts of it actually came in the post-credits scene, when Ryan Reynolds' titular character re-emerged to tease the sequel, which he confirmed would star Deadpool's longtime comic book ally, Cable. This immediately prompted fans to suggest Avatar star Stephen Lang for the role, and Lang himself soon followed by campaigning for it, which subsequently made the aforementioned fans excited about the prospect. Unfortunately, it won't happen, as Lang himself has said as much. He says that his commitment to the 4 Avatar sequels, which are produced by the same studio as the X-Men movies, would prevent him from having the time to play Cable. Several other great actors have been linked to the role: Pierce Brosnan, Brad Pitt, and most recently Michael Shannon, for example. But it definitely won't be Lang. Who do you guys think should play Cable in Deadpool 2? Are you disappointed that it won't be Stephen Lang? Tell us.
What up, what's up? What's up?
The 21 Jump Street and Men in Black crossover. In 2016, it was announced that Sony were officially moving forward with one of the most bizarre crossovers in movie history, a coming together of the 21 Jump Street and Men in Black movie franchises. Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill were to reprise their roles as Janko and Schmidt, and new actors were to take on the roles of the Men in Black. The movie even had a title, MIB23, and a logo.
That's weird, man.
But it was more recently confirmed to be dead in the water by Hill himself, with the actor stating that it would be complicated to merge the two franchises convincingly. Frankly, that's a good thing, as it would likely have been a total nightmare and turned out ridiculous. There may yet be sequels to both franchises, but the likelihood of them being in crossover form are now next to zero.
I am just a figment of your imagination.
You all agree that it would have been ridiculous, right? No, of course you do. Iron Man 4 with the Real Mandarin. Although Iron Man 3 was fairly poorly received, especially in comparison to the more popular Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark hasn't become any less popular, and fans of comic book movies would love a 4th installment in the Iron Man franchise. The biggest criticism of Iron Man 3 was the depiction of the Mandarin.
Mandarin, the real guy.
Where? Where's the Mandarin? Where is it?
Whoa.
So it was a welcome revelation for most fans when it was revealed in the Marvel one-shot All Hail the King that the real Mandarin is actually out there in the MCU. With the revelation came an expectation and excitement that the real Mandarin would be the villain in Iron Man 4, should that movie ever be made. But that's just not going to happen. Revealing that the real Mandarin exists in the MCU is one thing, but going as far as having him as a villain in another Iron Man movie would be too much of an admission of failure by Marvel Studios. If they were to make an entire new production to appease the reception of a previous villain.
The Mandarin? See, it's not real.
Did you actually like the whole Aldrich Killian, Trevor Slattery version of the Mandarin? Sound off about it below. A third Guillermo del Toro Hellboy movie with Ron Perlman. Given that they were released before the comic book movie genre was anywhere near as lucrative and popular as it is today, it was something of a surprise that 2004's Hellboy and 2008's Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, went down so well with movie audiences, especially given that Hellboy isn't anywhere near as well known as the likes of Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man. But the fact is, they were very popular movies, and fan demand for a sequel was extremely high, even up until recently, despite the fact that Ron Perlman is now 66 years of age. For several years, fans, and indeed Perlman himself, campaigned for a third movie in the franchise to be made, and it seemed likely to happen when Perlman, director Guillermo del Toro, and Universal Pictures got together for talks in early 2017. Sadly, however, del Toro confirmed that talks stalled, and a third movie wouldn't be made.
The time will come.
However, with the comic book movie genre booming, don't rule out seeing a new version of Hellboy hitting cinemas at some point in the near future. Who else do you think could play the character? Give us your suggestions. Nick Cave's Gladiator 2. with a time-traveling Maximus. In spite of the fact that Gladiator was released all the way back in the year 2000, it remains one of the best films of the new millennium. It won 5 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Actor, so any sequel was, initially at least, eagerly anticipated. That is until the details of a potential sequel were made public. Since the mid-noughties, a sequel had been in the works up until recently, with Nick Cave, yes, that Nick Cave, responsible for the script. It would have seen Maximus reincarnated and sent across time to fight in other important wars, such as World War II and the Vietnam War, and realistically, it would have been ridiculous. Thankfully, it was scrapped, and it will never happen now because frankly, Russell Crowe is too old to reprise a role from 17 years ago. Ridley Scott has teased a possible sequel recently, but that particular one won't be it. You have to agree, it would have been stupid, right? If that's something you would have liked to see, tell us how wrong we are. Inhumans in movie form. In October 2014, an Inhumans movie was announced for Phase 3 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, at around the same time that the concept of the Inhumans was introduced to the MCU via the second season of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. television series. However, in November 2016, it was announced that Inhumans itself would be a television series, to begin airing in September 2017, instead of there being a movie based on the characters. Given the very distinct segregation that has been displayed to date between the television and movie sides of the MCU, that pretty much ensures that there'll never be an Inhumans movie now. That's a real shame, because it genuinely had the potential to become Marvel Studios' X-Men. Are you disappointed that there won't be an Inhumans movie, or are you satisfied with the television show? Share your thoughts with us. A Planet Hulk movie. It's been 9 years since we've had a Hulk solo movie, and fans of the character have been crying out for another ever since, but it doesn't look likely to happen at all. Planet Hulk is the story that most fans would like to see adapted on the big screen, but that can definitely be ruled out, as the concept is being reduced to a subplot in the upcoming Thor Ragnarok movie, which will be released in November of this year. Now that will be cool, but it'll be nowhere near as in-depth as a full movie based on the popular comic book arc. Planet Hulk sees the Hulk stranded on a gladiatorial planet, and it's absolutely awesome. But we're not getting the version we want, just a diluted substitute. And that's thanks largely to the Hulk solo movies having only performed mediocrely in the past, and due to Marvel Studios' troubles with the character's movie rights. Are you disappointed that Planet Hulk will only be a side story in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or are you just happy that we'll get to see it in any form? A Jurassic Park movie with Human-Dinosaur Hybrids. Jurassic Park is one of the most successful movie franchises of all time. The 4 installments to date all have near identical themes, in spite of the fact that they are spread over 22 years. 2015's Jurassic World did introduce the concept of an open park for the first time, and it did introduce a totally new dinosaur in the form of the Indominus Rex. But it was still just essentially a bunch of people getting chased by man-eating prehistoric reptiles. That's why it was at least interesting to hear about the possibility of a new Jurassic Park movie that would feature human-dinosaur hybrids that would be trained for warfare. Now, while this isn't confirmed as not happening, you have to imagine that it won't, because quite frankly, it'd be stupid. Early images of the sequel to Jurassic World show no indication of that happening, but there has been talk of dinosaurs being used for warfare in the movie. They just won't be half-human ones. You don't want to see human-dino hybrids, do you? You'd be crazy to want that, guys. An MCU Spider-Man movie with Venom. Back in 2007, Spider-Man 3 brought Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy to a close, in disappointing fashion, with a truly awful cinematic portrayal of the Webbed Wonders' classic villain, Venom. Topher Grace played a wimpy, whiny version of the character, and he was almost universally disliked, so fans would really like to see Marvel Studios being given a chance to portray the character in the hugely popular Marvel Cinematic Universe. Up until recently, that still seemed like a realistic and indeed likely possibility. Spider-Man is now in the MCU, and surely that meant Venom would soon follow, but we should be so lucky. Sony Pictures have now announced plans to start a new cinematic universe with a bunch of Spider-Man villains in it, Venom being one of them, and that's really disappointing. Moreover, rumor has it that Spider-Man himself will be drafted back to Sony after the sequel to 2017's Spider-Man Homecoming, and that would really grind the fans' gears. Do you think Sony should leave Spider-Man and his supporting characters with Marvel now? I mean, they've had their shots, right? Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Ghost in the Shell, starring Margot Robbie. The live-action Ghost in the Shell movie was released recently, with Scarlett Johansson in the lead role as the Major. A lot of fans of the original Japanese manga were unhappy with the casting, and accusations of whitewashing were rife from the moment it was announced. You have to wonder if the same complaints would have been made if Margot Robbie had been cast, as was originally rumored. As popular as Scarlett Johansson is, Margot Robbie is an absolute media darling, who didn't even receive any negative press for appearing in 2016's Suicide Squad, with her portrayal of Harley Quinn being widely praised as the best thing about the movie by far. The Australian star was said to be circling the role of the Major back in 2014, but the casting never happened and we'll never get to see how it would have panned out. Would you have liked to see Robbie as the Major? Do you think the whitewashing accusations would have been half as harsh with her in the role? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching our video about 10 versions of anticipated movies we'll never get to see. We hope you enjoyed it. And the answer to the movie emoji is... Did you get the right answer? Let us know in the comments below, and make sure you subscribe to our channel and sign up for notifications so you never miss an upload. If you like this video, check out our buddies over at CBR. Their videos cover the entire pop culture spectrum and are just as great as ours.